Hi, we are Efrain and Genesis.
We are a newlywed couple from New England.
In January of 2019, we embarked on a crazy wild journey of full-time RVing in pursuit of liberty from the 9 to 5.
Originally, we intended for the adventure to last a year, but once we got a taste of freedom, we found our home is destined to be where we park it.
We welcome you all to subscribe and follow our adventure.
Like nothing could stop us. Sunsets, remember the colors. They were wrong, it was way more than a dream.
We are Project No Destination.
And this is our white picket fence. Alright, so today I will be framing out the shower. As you can see, the two pieces back here, two studs. They're not connected yet, but I started recording and I didn't notice that it didn't record anything at all. So I got pretty far, not pretty far, but I just started, and this is what I have so far. This is gonna be this stud here. This is gonna be the corner of the bathroom. I had to make some cuts here. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 to make it nice and tight to the wall. So this one's gonna go further out, right? These are 2.5-inch studs, 2.5 inch by 1 1/4, I believe. I decided to use metal because it's lighter, and the reason why I decided to go with metal is because I want to put tile in the shower walls on the left and the right. The shower pans should be here on Friday. It's Wednesday today, so a couple days. So yeah, today's just framing. All right, so the first stud is in. It looks all crooked because of this, because of the slits in the stud. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a piece of wood here. I don't know yet. I actually don't know, but I have to try to straighten that out somehow. So I had to catch. So as you see, this is a stud right here that I use for the tongue and groove. So this stud, I measured it. I was off by about 1/2 inch. So the end of the stud is like the edge of this stud right here. As you can see, it's right here. That's the edge of the stud. I missed it by 1/2 inch, so I was able to use these sheet metal screws, and there's a big piece of metal that runs across the van right here. And also I did the same thing right here. I was also able to grab the stud with a couple screws, one right there, I think, and then one up here. So made it work, but it wasn't easy. So a long time ago, I was gifted this laser, very long time ago, and I never used this type of laser, but today I ended up using it to make sure that stud right there is straight. So I measured it, I leveled off the laser. So as you can see, I have the laser and the edge of the stud here. So what I did was I aligned this ruler against the back of the stud because that's the straightest part. I know this flares out because I cut the stud, as you can see right there. So you want to put the ruler in the back of the stud and make sure it doesn't go through any gaps. And then you want to measure it to the laser. That's 4 3/4. So if you go up here, we go up here about in the middle, it's 4 3/4. And then if we go to the top of it, you can see, where's the laser? Right there, 4. It's like a hairline off too. Oh, let's see, actually, it was a little off here. Yeah, about 4 3/4. I'm pretty happy about that. So now, what I'm gonna do is measure from this stud, the edge of this stud, or I'll probably mark lines, or I'll probably leave the laser there and mark the difference from the laser line to the edge of this stud so I can make sure it's nice and leveled. I made sure to measure from the bottom to the top. Then I started laying down the floor studs. As you can see, this is the edge of the stud. So what I did, I put a piece of scrap plywood behind here. So I squeezed it behind the wall, and then I just sipped 2 screws in, and now it's nice and tight. Make sure to take your time measuring. Today I am working on the exterior walls of the shower, this side and that side. I have some leftover 1/4 inch plywood that I use for the ceiling. I'm just using this to scribe and to get the angle of this wall so I can eventually put 1/2 inch plywood. So what I did first, I scribed it. As you can see, it's just a rough draft. There's gaps everywhere, but it's just a rough draft. I cut it really fast with my jigsaw. So now that I got it nice and tight, I mean, there's a gap up here, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add another piece. I'm gonna add another piece of this to get the angle up here too. So what I did, I clamped it down to here and here in the bottom. So I clamped it down. So now I'm gonna scribe it and take my time and scribe it accurately to try to get a tighter fit for this template. Just a quick tip, I'm not a professional, but you want to make sure this tip is at the edge of the wall, or it's riding against the wall, and then you want to make sure this tip is nice and tight. So it's just pretty much going up and down like this. Just make sure they're tight. Okay, so as you can see, there's some gaps, and there's some more noticeable gaps right here, and then up here. So I'm gonna have to sand it down and just mess around with it until I get it perfect. After a lot of sanding, try to get it to my liking. I mean, there's still a couple gaps that I can fix, that I'm going to fix, yeah. But it looks pretty clean. It's a bigger gap right here. I'm not really worried about that. It's gonna get covered with the cabinets up here. But I also had to make a notch up here for the wires that are running through. It wasn't letting me butt up against this here, and that's probably the reason why there's a bigger gap. So I'm probably gonna sand that down just a bit right up there. But overall, it came out pretty good. I still have to cut it here on the right hand side and get it nice and flush. And up top, a little gap right there. I can fix that as well. I can sand it down just a bit. All right, so now that I cut it here, It's nice and flush all the way up. Might have to sand it down just a bit here on the top. Alrighty, so I trimmed it here on the side. It's loose right now. It's not screwed in. But yeah, it came out pretty clean. There's some gaps. Oh, hold on. I gotta press this a little harder. There is some gaps here, but I'm gonna have a cabinet that will hide those gaps. Looks a little better down here. And then there's kind of like a gap here, but I'm not gonna be too crazy about it. But yeah, it came out pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna start making the base for our shower pan. I ended up clamping it down, 3/4 plywood, just so I can get a more accurate measurement going across. And this thing is oval, the pan is oval, so my plywood is, the plywood is sitting flush right now, it's sitting flat. If I was to press it and close this gap, it would go up here. So then that means you'll lose like about 1/8 in the measurement on each side. So just keep that in mind. All right, so I have all my pieces for the frame of the shower pan all cut up, and I got a little too happy here with the pocket holes, and I ended up doing too many pocket holes where I wasn't supposed to. But yeah, it's all finished. This is gonna be the inside. It's gonna go like this. You see, I got too happy there. Got too carried away. I needed to do pocket holes on this longer piece, and I ended up doing it on the shorter piece. But yeah, I use this jig a lot, and it's awesome. It has 3 holes here, ABC, the thickness of the wood that you're drilling into, and then this clamp here. Then this right here, it's to clamp it down to your workbench or something. Oh, and it also has the holes right through here. All right, now that I placed it in here, it has a little bit of wiggle room. That's because of the it's a little smaller than the pan. Now I'm going to run my level across, make sure everything's leveled, and then after I'll dry fit the pan. So I fit my pan in right now. I just dry fit, and it's nice and sturdy, nice and leveled. Yes, and then now I'm going to paint this frame and treat it so it doesn't catch any mildew or anything like that. I'm gonna even paint the floor, to be honest. I don't even know. I'm gonna see what else everyone else is doing, so we'll see.
Everything's so much better.